It's Wednesday night after a long day, and the last thing you want to do is cook dinner from scratch. But you still want a satisfying, tasty meal without the guilt? Enter your freezer's sidekick, Cauliflower. From thin and crispy cauliflower crust pizzas to all-natural white meat chicken tenders and more, Cauliflower is gluten-free always, satisfies every craving, and is ready in minutes. Cauliflower is available in freezer aisles nationwide. Visit eatcauliflower.com/where-to-buy to find a store near you.
You're listening to Missing Persons, brought to you by AbJack Entertainment. Be sure to check out some of the other great true crime podcasts from this network, including Scene of the Crime, The Murder in My Family, 3 Men and a Mystery, Malice, and DNA ID. All of these podcasts are available for you to binge on right now, wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe where you're listening to this podcast so you don't miss an episode.
The views and opinions expressed by guests on this podcast do not necessarily represent those of the podcast, its creators, or sponsors. If you would like to discuss a missing persons case on this podcast, please be sure to visit missingpersonspodcast.net. This episode may contain unsettling or disturbing subject matter. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Missing Persons, a podcast dedicated to spreading the word about people who have vanished under mysterious or unexplained circumstances and the family members who are looking for answers. I'm Jess Betancourt.
And I'm Mike Morford. Together we created this podcast to help give a voice to people who continue to look for their missing loved ones. In some cases, even after decades have gone by. In each episode, you'll hear from Jess giving listeners the backstory and the basic facts of the disappearance.
Then Mike will speak with someone who's intimately connected to the missing person, and his guest will share their story with us.
Please stay tuned at the conclusion of this episode to hear about our Patreon program and our commitment to help find people who have gone missing. We'll also share with you where you can find more information and how you can join our team and help our efforts. You'll get recommendations for other podcasts we think you'll enjoy, and more.
So sit back and enjoy this episode, and who knows, maybe you can help us find someone who's missing. Jamie Tate vanished from Indianapolis, Indiana on July 30th, 2020. She was last seen at the home she shared with her mother on North Bellevue Place, going out for a bike ride. Jamie was born on June 18th, 1987. When she disappeared, she was 33 years old. Jamie grew up in Indianapolis in a divided household with 4 siblings in each of her parents' homes. She is her mom Donna Carn's youngest child. Donna is our guest today. We have to say up front that there is virtually no information online available about this case. Jamie went missing only a few months ago, and while her case has been investigated, it has not received a lot of attention in the media or online. Mike Morford's interview with her mom Donna, which follows, is the best source of information we have found on the case. There is also a Facebook page called Bring Jamie Tate Home. Donna tells us that Jamie is a very caring, kind person, a little shy, who is very trusting and gullible. Jamie had some issues with addiction and has been the victim of rape at least one time that her mom knows of. But she always forgave people who wronged her, and so some people took advantage of her. Jamie went on drug binges from time to time, but she never went away for long. Her mom always knew where she was, as Jamie always checked in or had someone do so for her. When she disappeared, Donna believes that she had been clean for a few days. Donna reported Jamie missing after she had been gone for a week. She knew that as an adult, Jamie had the right to take off, and she had left with 2 bags of clothes, her bike, and her phone. But when she did not contact anyone in her family within a few days, Donna knew that something was wrong. She reported her daughter missing, and as she expected, found that the police were slow to take the case seriously. Neither Jamie, the bags of clothes, her phone, or her bike have ever turned up. Jamie's case is now assigned to Detective James Burton of the INPD, who is actively investigating the case. Searches have been conducted for Jamie in areas she was known to frequent or where witnesses reported seeing her. Donna and friends have checked out abandoned houses and canvassed neighborhoods to no avail. Donna heard from several different people that Jamie was seen in an abandoned home in the area. Detective Burton has stated that he believes Jamie met with foul play. Donna says that Jamie had an ex named Rob who was abusive. He had gotten out of prison shortly before Jamie vanished. She had reconnected with him, even though in the past she had considered getting a restraining order. A witness reported seeing Jamie arguing with Rob on the porch at a home in the 500 block of South Warman Street, about 2.5 miles from her home, before she was dragged into the house. Detective Burton told Fox 59 Indianapolis, quote, "With the witness observing her arguing with the individual and being dragged into a house and not being seen or heard from since is what makes her case suspicious." Detectives have gone from door to door in the block where Jamie was last seen. They have also attempted to speak to witnesses and interview persons of interest. But there was no trail of calls or texts to follow, although they are still investigating Jamie's phone records. And the ex-boyfriend, who was in custody on an unrelated charge, refused to take a polygraph and lawyered up. Donna says that the people Jamie was associating with were dangerous and violent. Some were gang members, and Jamie had knowledge of some of these people who were involved in a murder and had confronted some of them. Donna believes that this may be why Jamie was taken. Donna feels that her daughter is likely dead. Jamie has never been out of touch for this amount of time, and she has heard talk on the street that Jamie was killed. Before she vanished, she was hanging out with a very dangerous group of people. There are rumors that Jamie was murdered in all kinds of terrible ways. No one knows if any of this is true, but of course, it is great cause for concern. Donna was the victim of what police consider to be a hoax. She received a kidnapping ransom text at 2:00 a.m., a couple of days after Jamie was reported missing. The police attempted to trace the origin of the text, but whoever sent it used an untraceable texting app, and nothing came of this. Jamie Tate remains a missing person. She is 5 foot 6 inches tall and weighs 140 pounds. She has brown hair and blue eyes. If you have any information about Jamie Tate's disappearance, please call Crime Stoppers at 317-262-TIPS or the Missing Persons Unit at 317-327-6160. Mike Morford sat down with Donna Carnes, Jamie Tate's mom, for Missing Persons. That conversation is coming up after a word from our sponsors.
It's Wednesday night after a long day, and the last thing you want to do is cook dinner from scratch. But you still want a satisfying, tasty meal without the guilt? Enter your freezer's sidekick, Cauliflower. From thin and crispy cauliflower crust pizzas to all-natural white meat chicken tenders and crowd-pleasing snacks, Cauliflower satisfies every craving. Cauliflower's products are your favorite comfort foods, but made better for you and gluten-free always. The best part? You don't have to sacrifice taste or time, so you can honor your cravings without compromising. Craving pizza? You can enjoy Cauliflower's delicious margarita pizza for only 370 calories for half the pizza. Looking for easy snacks that kids and adults alike will love? Cauliflower's baked, never-fried pizza snacks are nostalgia reimagined and ready in 5 minutes. Cauliflower's products are available in freezer aisles nationwide. Visit eatcauliflower.com/where-to-buy to find a store near you.
Let's be honest. Most of us have a love-hate relationship with wired bras. We love the lift, but hate the digging. We love the support, but hate feeling trapped. Well, Knix just changed everything with FreeFlex, a wired bra actually designed to work with your body, not against it. FreeFlex features a revolutionary flexible wire that moves when you move, bends when you bend, and keeps everything exactly where you want it. No poking, no stabbing, no constant readjusting, just freedom to move. It also has a demi-cup shape for a natural lift with a lower neckline that flatters in everything from V-necks to dresses. And because it's from Knix, it's available in sizes for every body. Experience the first wired bra you'll actually want to wear all day. Visit Knix.com for 15% off your order with FreeFlex15. That's KNIX.com, code FreeFlex15 for 15% off. Knix.com.
Hi, Donna, and thanks for coming on Missing Persons to discuss your daughter Jamie's case.
Hi, Mike.
I'm happy to have you here. I know it's been a rough couple months trying to figure out what happened to Jamie, and there's not a lot of information out there, and that's something we'll go over with you. But if you can, just to get us started, can you tell us a little bit about Jamie and her background and what kind of person she is?
Yes, I can. Well, her background, she was one of 4 siblings in my household, one of 4 siblings in her dad's household. Good kid, shy, loves the outdoors, very big-hearted, which inevitably I believe is what caused her to become a missing person. She kind of collected people, sometimes not good people, but she just kind of always gravitated towards being a helper. Sometimes she attracted all kinds of people to her. She had many, many friends in many, many circles, but she kind of developed a penchant for thinking there was good in everybody and kind of, trying to spend time and effort on bad people, the wrong people. And she has a history of substance abuse in the last couple of years. So I think that also kind of put her in with some very, very bad people.
You think that may have compounded things, that mix of bad people plus her substance abuse could have combined to put her in danger?
Yeah, I do. And I mean, some of her situations she had shared with me and we had talked about it. But she was so forgiving. I mean, people could attack her. They stole from her. They robbed her. She was beaten. I know she was raped at least once. She had a whole lot of traumatic things happen to her. But no matter what happened to her, all somebody had to do was come up and say, I'm sorry. And she was so gullible, just so gullible. And I really hate that about her. I love that about her, but I hate that about her, and that I really feel like in my heart, I know that she's deceased. And I have a good idea, and I'm sure IMPD have really a good idea, but proving it, I'm not sure that that's coming to be yet. And we've tried to reach out, like asking people for help on social media about, trying to help recover her body. And unfortunately, with the type of people that she was associated with her last few days here, it's mostly been lies and false leads. And we've gotten all kinds of information about, this happened to her and she's here. And so we've been searching for her remains. One thing that's been consistent is the streets do tell things, and we keep getting told that she's been murdered. And I do believe that. Even with her addiction, if she, was binging or whatever, she would go out for maybe a day, but she would always find a way to contact me and let me know she was okay.
Yeah, that's one thing I wanted to ask you about. Had she been away for any extended period of time without you hearing from her before?
No, never over a day or two. And then, if somebody would get a hold of me on her behalf and let me know, hey, I'm okay. I'm with so-and-so. And, towards the end, the last time I seen her was the 30th between 2 and 3, and she was going to go pick up her bicycle and take a bike ride, air up the tire. But I actually think that she might have came in later that same, like on the 30th, which may or may not have been close to midnight, might have been after midnight, actually on August 1st. But she was right there in the area that we lived in. And I just can't believe that, I know that people seen her. I know that the people that she was around, I know they know what happened to her. And I get that they're all scared to come forward, afraid that, they may be the next missing person. But I just, they could report things anonymously, without even putting their name out there. If they would just call 262 TIPS or Crime Stoppers. I mean, there's just 101 ways that people could have reported. And that just makes me really sad that people know, and especially the people that she defended and, people that she stuck her neck out for, because she really was that way. If she seen something that wasn't right, she would speak up about it. She put herself in danger a lot. She had a psycho ex-boyfriend. He was an abuser. He didn't treat her well at all. He was very cruel and mean to her. And he had went to prison, and he had gotten out, I don't know, maybe 6 months prior to that. So I kind of was aware that she was talking with him again and that she was spending time with him. We had talked about that. I told her, Jamie, at one point, I think she was actually going to let me put a no contact order against him. But she just, her mind, she just kept going back and forth. She also had, due to the people that I said, the gang people or whatever you call them, that she had gotten affiliated with, she did not witness, but had knowledge of them killing a guy named Blake Burnell. And I believe that really is what I kind of think myself, that it's a combination of the psycho ex set her up and or helped the people that were also responsible for killing Blake Burnell.
So maybe they wanted to silence her because they were afraid she would tell someone or something like that?
I mean, she had confronted the very people that did it, and she was blatant about it, but going to the authorities, I wish she would have done that. I really feel if she would have done that, but yeah, I'm sure that that's what's happened to her. I mean, Blake's sister Laura had called me once and expressed concern for Jamie. And she told me, Jamie runs the same circle that my brother Blake did. Somebody had called her, or she had had a conversation with somebody where they actually told her that they were going to shoot Jamie Tate and post it on social media and send it to her or whatever. And she said that she had called detectives then, her brother Blake's detective, so that they would know what happened to her when Jamie came up missing. And I had talked to Jamie about trying to get, her, I wanted to get her in treatment, first of all, to get her clean. And I did want her to come forward and talk to authorities. But I think that she was so confused, she just didn't know what to do. And I was in the process of selling my house so that we could relocate, so that I could make sure she was in a safe environment. Then my goal was to get her in treatment. I even had a prospective deal worked out to where she would actually have a little piece of land to start over on, that was close to me, so that we could all watch out for her and help her as a family. And we were almost there. The last night I seen her, I was talking to her and I said, Jamie, you putting your light out is not going to bring Blake back. It's horrible what happened to him. If we could just keep you safe for a month, in a month, I've made arrangements to sell the house. You will have your own piece of land. We can get you, whatever you need. And you can survive this. But I told her I can't protect you. I mean, if she stayed in the house with me, I had weapons in the house, guns, and nobody would have came in after her without, really going through a lot to get to her. And I think that she left to try thinking that she could protect us, because more and more toward the end, she was kind of isolating herself, drawing away from us, her family, and gravitating more towards the people who were really harmful. And I really believe that, in her mind, she kept thinking that if she wasn't around us, that we would be safer.
So we know just from everything you're telling us that she's hanging out with a sordid cast of characters. They may be dangerous, criminal types. So right away,
they are very dangerous.
Yeah, that puts her at risk just being in that group. Let's go back to when you noticed she was missing. You saw her that last day. When did you think something was actually wrong and that she was missing and not just out for a day? When did you decide I've got to do something? I've got to call the police or whatever?
I waited actually 7 days before I called because she's 33. And I kind of knew that, you know, they wouldn't really take me seriously. And even when I did call, the first couple, the officers that came out to take the missing persons report, you know, they kept telling me, well, you realize that she's 33 years old. And if she doesn't, you know, want to be found, there's not much you can do. Or, you know, I just feel like they really didn't take me serious at all. But I knew probably the same night that she left, my mom meter is what I call it. And I have severe anxiety. And it's always, you know, like when one of my kids are in trouble, usually my oldest or my youngest, and Jamie was my youngest. So even that night, that first night, you know, I had horrible anxiety. I have PTSD too. So sometimes it kind of acts up and I have a hard time sleeping, but I just kept all night, you know, like I had nightmares and I just knew. I don't know how to explain it. Just a sense of, the only thing I can say is I call it my mom meter. When one of my kids are in trouble, I just will keep thinking about that adult child over and over. And I have such anxiety that it just, you know, I shake and I just can't function. And I was like that probably, that night, I don't think I slept much. The next day I started calling her phone and sending her texts. And then I think, I don't know, at some point a couple of days later, then I told her, look, you know, I was calling all of her friends in my contact list on the phone. And then I finally sent her a text. I think it was about the first. I'm wanting to think. I'm not sure. I have a hard time remembering, especially now. But I had sent her a text and told her, okay, Jamie, you know, I've been checking with everybody. You know, I'm really getting worried now. I'm going to call and report you missing. And that, you know, if she just would have been binging, I know that would have made her angry. And then she would have called me just, you know, hey, I'm okay. You're just going to have to quit worrying so much. You know, I'm an adult now. And you know, her usual spill, you know, I'm okay. I love you. I'm just, you know, I'm with Rob. And that's what her psycho ex-stalker's name was, or is. He was picked up at one point for questioning, and he was detained for a few days. And I just know that when he was asked to take, his story was inconsistent. When he was asked to take a lie detector test, he asked to lawyer up. And I don't know, I guess when I'm not sure what happened after that, but he was let go a few days later. But he actually was taken in custody on an unrelated charge, something about an assault on another female. Don't really have details about that. But that's what led him to actually be apprehended for a few days. But nothing became of it. They didn't have anything on him. Not enough evidence to hold him or charge him at that point. So he was let go again, unfortunately.
So it sounds like initially the police, you know, sort of blew you off and said that she's an adult, but it sounds like at some point they changed their tune a little bit and started digging to see what they could find out. How long did that take for them to come around and start trying to look for her?
Well, they assigned her Detective Burton, and he's been amazing. I get apprehensive sometimes because I feel like when I first called and I said she had a history of substance abuse, that automatically they just thought, she's just out binging. And that's probably true a lot. I do think that he does everything in his power. Because when I hear things, lots of people will tell us stuff. I don't know why they don't report to IMPD where it belongs, but all of her friends, have told us some kind of stories about they think somebody did it and this is how they did it and this is where they think her body is. And we've been everywhere from abandoned houses to looking along Eagle Creek, along the creek banks. We've just been in all kinds of situations. A lot of those places, IMPD will not go into abandoned houses unless they can contact the homeowner and get permission to search, and that takes a long time. So at this point, I'm just really kind of not sure. I realize that they can't tell me what's going on if there's an active investigation, nor do I really want to know. I just want to know that, that she's just not forgotten in another missing person here in Indy. And it seems like there's a lot.
Is that a high crime area that you live in? Is there a lot of substance problems related to that kind of thing?
It is a horrible area. It's the area that she was seen last in is close to where, if you're familiar with the Baby Amaya story here in Indianapolis, it's kind of in that little, they call it the weak hair area. And she was right over there. And she grew up there. She, everybody knew her basically. So that's kind of what is really, really frustrating, is she walked around on the streets over there all the time. And so many people knew her that I think that she just had a false sense of, people are good. And I know that probably the very people, she didn't just disappear with her telephone. She had 2 bags of clothes with her. And we can't find anything, her bicycle, her phone, her nothing. It's like all traces of her have just been wiped out.
It's Wednesday night after a long day, and the last thing you want to do is cook dinner from scratch. But you still want a satisfying, tasty meal without the guilt? Enter your freezer's sidekick, Cauliflower. From thin and crispy cauliflower crust pizzas to all-natural white meat chicken tenders and crowd-pleasing snacks, Cauliflower satisfies every craving. Cauliflower's products are your favorite comfort foods, but made better for you and gluten-free always. The best part? You don't have to sacrifice taste or time, so you can honor your cravings without compromising. Craving pizza? You can enjoy Cauliflower's delicious margarita pizza for only 370 calories for half the pizza. Looking for easy snacks that kids and adults alike will love? Cauliflower's baked, never-fried pizza snacks are nostalgia reimagined and ready in 5 minutes. Cauliflower's products are available in freezer aisles nationwide. Visit eatcauliflower.com/where-to-buy to find a store near you.
Let's be honest. Most of us have a love-hate relationship with wired bras. We love the lift, but hate the digging. We love the support, but hate feeling trapped. Well, Knix just changed everything with FreeFlex, a wired bra actually designed to work with your body, not against it. FreeFlex features a revolutionary flexible wire that moves when you move, bends when you bend, and keeps everything exactly where you want it. No poking, no stabbing, no constant readjusting, just freedom to move. It also has a demi-cup shape for a natural lift with a lower neckline that flatters in everything from V-necks to dresses. And because it's from Knix, it's available in sizes for every body. Experience the first wired bra you'll actually want to wear all day. Visit Knix.com for 15% off your order with FreeFlex15. That's KNIX.com, code FreeFlex15 for 15% off. Knix.com.
Have the police done any searching for trying to track her phone or anything like that?
They have, and I was told it pinged up in Noblesville, and that was a few days later. I got a kidnapping ransom text, and do not call IMPD or whatever. The first thing I do is call IMPD, of course. So they were at my house, I think, all night that night, the officers that came out, and they did try. Once I got that and I called back, and I'm not sure how long that was from the time I know I reported her missing right about 7 days, maybe a day or two less, but I tried really hard to wait 7 days. I think maybe it was about 5, if I recall. And then probably 2 days later, I think in the middle of the night, about 2 a.m., I started getting kidnapping texts. So I do know that they tried to locate her phone at that point. I don't believe they did prior to that. And I signed a release so that IMPD can get all of her phone records. So I don't really know. I don't think they're having any luck with the problem with the kidnapping texts where they came from like a Text Now app or Text Me Now app or something. And it's really hard to trace them because they're based out of Canada, I believe. So it's really hard to trace those phone calls.
Can you talk a little bit more about what the text asked for or demanded, or what kind of things they said?
Oh, yeah. The first one I got was about 2 a.m. or so, and it was something about that, like they had tried to contact me before, and I just didn't answer. So as soon as I seen it, I called the number, and nobody answered. And then I got another response that, I don't call this number. It was, I blocked a lot of it out because it was so horrific that whole night, but that she was sick and that she refused to eat or take medicine and she wanted her mommy. When IMPD looked at it, they pretty much told me it was a hoax, and my brain part of me knew better. But I still would have found it was asking specifically for $8,000. And to show good faith, I was to go purchase an iTunes card for $50, which even my brain, even then, through all of that, my brain knew that this is somebody just scamming. But the off chance that it was really somebody who had her and they might release her, I was willing to do whatever. I was just trying to sit up all night and text with this person, the scammer, whatever, and just trying to say anything I could just to buy more time. And when the store opened up at daylight the next day, I did go down and get a $50 iTunes card, even though everybody said don't do it, But I still, I kept telling IMPD I'm not being non-compliant, but, I'll do whatever it takes. I just have to buy some time. I had reached out to a couple people who were going to lend me money until I renegotiated the deal in my house and took less and got, cash. And so I did. I paid the little $50, but I thought, okay, that'll buy me some time. And then, if they really, I kind of changed it, what this scammer was wanting, this kidnapping scammer was for me to send the $50, and he was going to drive a half an hour, he or she, a half an hour to the place where he had her. And he was going to take pictures and show me proof of life. And then after I actually purchased the iTunes card, I responded, okay, I did what, and I was trying to take control of the situation, you know, like he kept saying that he had a daughter, and I was saying, I don't believe you're a parent, or you wouldn't, you know, I just don't believe that you're a parent. But then I would say, you know, well, you mentioned it's your daughter's birthday and she won't let you leave until I give you the money that you leave her with the gift card. So, you know, you've got the $50 iTunes card. I mean, so you've got the $50 iTunes card. Now, you don't have to drive all the way back and show me proof of life. But what I will ask you to do, and I promise you, you will, I'm a woman of my word, you will get every bit of your $8,000. And she will never tell on you. Why should she? She'll be home with me. And so I said, and I want you to, instead of taking pictures and everything, to simply take her to the nearest hospital, police station. You can drop her off, you know, on the wherever. But what I got back was a response that he had ran out of gas driving to get there, and he needed another $50 card. And at which point I said, no, you know, once you take her to a hospital and I will meet you. I mean, I will do anything that, you know, anybody who knows me knows I am a woman of my word, and you will get every penny of that money if my daughter is okay. But I wanted him to either take her to a hospital or a police station, or, you know, to where I actually knew that she was safe in some place. And here they had responded that they took her to the hospital, but she was so sick and they had to pay $100, and now they wanted their $100 back. And I just kind of, you know, they told me just block the number was what was suggested. But I didn't block it. I just kept reading it. So it went on for a couple days after, but I didn't come off any other money other than the little $50 for the iTunes card.
It's sad as a parent. You'll do whatever it takes to try and take care of your kids and hold on to whatever lifeline there might be, even if it's something in the back of your mind. You said you didn't believe it was real, but it was the only hope you had, it sounds like. And it's sad that there's people out there that will take advantage of that. And not just, it's sad that what they're doing to you, but they're also hurting the police investigation, because now the police have to look into that, and it takes time away from probably looking at more realistic things that might help find your daughter.
Yes, and the false leads too, you know, where it just kind of makes you wonder, you know, I mean, and some of those people she grew up with and knew for years, called them family. It's just unbelievable. I just, it's like we woke up in a nightmare, and things just, you know, there's no reprieve. Every time we think that we're getting a good lead, you know, or that somebody says they know something, and people's cruelty just never ceases to amaze me, that people will call her family and tell us stuff, but then when you ask them to talk to the detectives, you know, I don't talk to detectives.
Yeah, a lot of the people, it sounds like in this case, that might have answers or might have more information are probably not the kind of people that are going to go to police. Have you thought about or looked into setting up maybe a reward fund? A lot of times, good old-fashioned money is what motivates people to turn on other people if they have information.
As soon as I renegotiated my house, I used to laugh at people that made offers and say I was selling it and not giving it away. In the end, I pretty much gave it away. But I did what I had to do, and I adjusted. And at that point, I just, you know, everything was creeping me out. I just had to get out of there. I just couldn't stay there a minute more. But as soon as I got my money, I put aside $1,000. And I kind of thought, you know, that might help. And Detective Burton says that he's gotten leads. But I think probably as a result of the reward money, the prospective reward money. But I don't know that we're getting anything, any more concrete, like anything I put on the flyer, $1,000 reward for resulting in recovery and or arrest. So I've kind of, and all of the flyers that we put out have been taken down. So we kind of have to generate some more. And I'm sure that we got into a whole lot of situations that probably weren't even, related to her, and maybe drew a lot of heat to some people. We didn't make any friends, I'll just say that. We came into a lot of dangerous and precarious situations.
Well, it sounds like your never ending quest almost, as far as time and money and resources to continue looking for your daughter. Have you thought about starting a Facebook page?
I believe that somebody did that for me. A Bring Jamie Home page. And I'd like to change it at this point to a Justice for Jamie. Bring Jamie Home originally was that we kind of all knew. I mean, everybody who's close to her that hadn't heard from her, we all know that there's no way, if she were alive, if she were able to get to a phone, she didn't disappear of her own accord. And we knew that, if there was any way possible that she would have contacted one of us in her little circle of real people that love her. So we were kind of trying to, recover first, get, her remains or whatever, and then find out what happened to her, and then make sure that the people responsible were brought to justice.
Well,
and we've looked in so many places. I mean, we've been told that she's in abandoned houses. We've been told that she was beaten to death, raped, tortured, murdered, and then burned up in a truck. And then the remains, after she was burned up, the remains put in a blue sleeping bag and buried in the embankment along Eagle Creek, which we just, spent days looking through, based on the information that we had from that anonymous caller. And I don't know what else Detective Burton has gotten. Probably pretty much the same thing. We've been told that one of the people who was responsible and involved in Blake Spurnell's death had admitted to somebody that he gave her a hot shot, that they shut her up. A hot shot is like a fatal shot of, I think it's fentanyl. That's, just going to stop your heart and take you out. And that's pretty much, I believe, from what I know of Blake Burnell's case, that's pretty much what happened to him. Is he too dabbled in substance abuse, and he too dabbled in intravenous drug use, as far as I know. But I believe that he was injected in his spine, and you can't do that to yourself. So, and Jamie, somehow she was associated with a couple of people in this little group that supposedly, got rid of Blake. And so somebody had confided in her. I'm not quite sure how she acquired the knowledge. But she had not been using for the whole week before she went missing, because she had been there with me at my house. And I mean, I could tell she was dope sick. She was coming off stuff, because she slept a lot. She, would get sick, but she stayed there and didn't leave the house. So, and she wanted, what makes me so sad is she really, we had talked about it. I'm a recovering addict. And we had talked about it, and I was telling her, Jamie, you just got to leave everybody alone. You really have to focus on yourself and get well, and you need long-term treatment. And she wanted that chance, She made a statement about, Mommy, I don't want to be the next biggest loser. She really, and it's like I was so close to her having that way out, having that opportunity to get clean and see a different way of life. And, just so close that I could actually just almost reach out and touch it. And then I get this sense of foreboding, I don't know how to explain it. I just knew that something horrible had happened to her.
It's got to be, as a parent, it's got to be an awful feeling just not knowing where your child is and what happened.
It is. And at this point, nothing that finding out the truth about what really happened to her could not possibly be as hard on my family as everything we've already been told. And, went out and looked in places. When we started calling IMPD, well, the first lady who furnished the lead to me, it was a totally bogus lead as far as I can tell. It's questionable. But it was, I had something about it was through a Facebook Messenger text that I had somebody, this may help. I think I know where she is. I had someone tell me. And she's being pimped out. She owes people money. She's being beaten and pimped out. And so, but I was given 3 different addresses. So kind of what IMPD, how they look at me, I can kind of understand because I called them frantically, called 911. The first address I called them with didn't even exist. And then the second address I called them with, they met me at the house. And he was a legitimate man, but he didn't want to give them permission to enter the house and search for her. And then, me being Jamie's mother and being in shock, I kind of was thinking about, he was drinking a beer and I was kind of thinking about taking his beverage and shoving it in his face and trying to go through, even with IMPD there, even if they would have shot me. There was one cop car still there at the time. And I just remember thinking that, if I can even get in the house, if there's a small chance she's in there and she's being tortured and pimped out and whatever, even if I got shot, if I could just get him in there, then they'll find her. And I was kind of weighing this out in my mind. And thank God I didn't. I don't know. My daughter was talking to my other daughter was telling me, Mom, come on, what are you doing? And I think she could just see that I was just so desperate. And I'm telling this man, you won't even let them look in your house. Then you have my daughter in there because you have something to hide, or I would welcome them to come and search my home if they thought I had somebody in there, and harm was coming to them. So, and he turned out to be a friend of a friend and is a very legitimate man. And I have apologized, shook his hand. I believe he understands what I was going through because he said he had a 12-year-old son who was in the house at the time. So I think he understands and forgives me, but he's the one who actually led us to another address that was south of Washington Street. And we, I do believe at one point she was affiliated with that address because we were given that address by him. Started out with the Carolyn Baker lead that was given to me on Facebook Messenger and the 3 different addresses. Then he gave us the 3rd address. And so we searched that location. And then there was like several abandoned houses on that block. So we kind of searched a couple others while we were there. Then we started to go home, and somebody else, not even affiliated with the Carolyn Baker lead, a neighbor down the street who Jamie called her brother, he and his friends ended up taking us back to the same exact location. And in IMPD, of course, as I said, they will not or cannot, it's against their policy, I believe, to go up into abandoned houses unless they contact and have consent from a homeowner. So we had went up in there ourselves, and the structure was very unsafe. but you could tell that somebody had been upstairs in the room in that house, because there was a Little Caesars box that was not discolored, like it was aged. And there was a bed, and there was like a chair in front of the bed, but it was just horrible. I mean, it reeked, it stunk. Oh, and there was a bucket where somebody had been using the bathroom. So we were led to that location like 3 or 4 times in one day, which makes me think that was a hit on. I mean, that was actually, she was there at some point, I believe. And then IMPD later I'd spoken to Detective Burton a week or so after that, and they had actually did a search and rescue mission at that same location to like an anonymous caller who had also called IMPD. So I kind of think, there was something to that. But in all the time that it took for us to, to get details, get addresses, get the right address. And then, by the time it got so bad that when I called 911 the third time, when I was actually on my way to that third location, I told you that we searched so many times that day. When I was on my way there, 911 operator hung up on me. But I'm thinking, by then they probably think I'm pranking, because when I had first called them, Jamie's best friend in the whole world, who was like her safe house, he does not do drugs, nor is affiliated with any of the bad people. But he was a place where she could go and she was safe in his house. They hung out a lot. Well, he actually had found the address where her psycho ex was staying, and it was an abando. And he had came and told me when he found out. So I called IMPD, and they told me it wasn't a legitimate address. Well, I called him like 3 times that night. Well, he had finally walked me back over there. And we had called and I was telling them, look, the 911 operator, I'm telling her, I promise you that isn't a legitimate address. I'm standing in front of the house right now, and ma'am, he's got my daughter in there. So they did send officers out to meet us that time, but they wouldn't. Again, they just knocked on the door. He wouldn't answer, so they said they couldn't go in. Before that, they said he drug her into the back. They were arguing and fighting in the backyard. A neighbor had told him to shut up and take it inside. And I guess it went on like overnight, all night. So he was seen dragging her into the house, the psycho ex, Robert Owen Sorrell Jr. He was seen dragging her into the house, and no one had ever seen her since then that I'm aware of.
It's got to be really frustrating to go to look at all these possible scenarios and to try and figure out the truth and most importantly find out what happened to your daughter. It sounds like in your mind, in your heart, you've already accepted the worst case. I guess at this point you just want to bring her home, even if she's not with you anymore. You at least want to have her to bring home.
Yes, and I want more than anything, at this point, I was so hopeful at first that, maybe we can find her, she'll be okay. Maybe we could find her remains, but, I'm getting less hopeful of that. But what I really want more than anything is for the people responsible to be brought to justice, to be held accountable, because she did not kill herself. She didn't disappear of her own accord. She was abducted and brutally murdered. And I just don't know how or if, these people are ever going to be held accountable. And then, we hear that they sit and they laugh and they say, they're never going to find her body. The same people that did this, and this is just so hard to accept.
If they did it once, they could do it again, too, to someone else. Oh,
they did it multiple times, I've heard, multiple times, and they keep getting away with it. And so I'm sure they really, they probably are laughing, because without a body, I had asked Detective Burton do we not have enough information now that she can be listed as a homicide and put on the homicide list? And he said to me that without having a body or DNA evidence, that she would always be listed as a missing person. And, if you research missing persons in Indianapolis, there's like over 300 or 400 at any given time. And I know why they never get found. There's probably only a handful of detectives who have all these cases. And, not saying anything derogatory about the detectives at all, but, how well can you do your job when you're that overextended?
Sure.
But it's a homicide, and I don't know what I have to do to get it. She's not just a missing person. She didn't just go off on a vacation somewhere. And it just, I just don't know how I can ever I don't know where else to look, where else to turn. But it clearly, should be a homicide. It's obvious that she, even with the evidence they've gotten, I know with what we've gotten, that, it's clear that she's not just a missing person. So I'm very frustrated with IMPD and their policies. I'm grateful for them because God knows, what would happen if you needed a cop and nobody responded. And, not saying anything critical about them except for the policies,
Yeah.
that they definitely need resources. Those policies need to be changed. Of course, it's gotten in today's society where the criminals have more rights than the law-abiding citizens. So I can understand their frustration too,
Yeah. It sounds like it's been a very frustrating couple of months for you.
It's been horrible.
A lot of rabbit holes and had a lot of false hope, but I certainly hope that you get some kind of news and find out some answers because it definitely sounds like you need them and you deserve them. So I just want to thank you for coming on and
Mike,
talking.
I thank you so much for your help because, we've never had a missing person before, and I realize I made a lot of mistakes too, like not documenting stuff. I'm getting better at it now, kind of trying to help with her case. So when we do things now, I do take pictures and document and stuff. But I really so much appreciate your getting her story out there and maybe somebody will hear it that is responsible or affiliates with the people responsible, and they might have a guilty conscience by now and, be kind of thinking about things, and maybe somebody will come forward and do the right thing.
That's what our hope is, and we're going to help you spread the word and do just that.
And thank you so much. God bless you. I'm just running out of hope, and I'm so grateful that you're even willing to try to air her story.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Missing Persons. If you can provide any information to help solve the case we discussed in this episode, we hope that you'll contact the appropriate authorities.
We hope that you'll tell your friends about Missing Persons and invite them to listen to the show. Word of mouth will really help us grow. And if you'd like to help us reach new listeners, please be sure to rate and review Missing Persons on the platform you're listening to us now on.
We'd like to tell you a little bit about our Patreon program. If you visit patreon.com/missingpodcast, you can sign up to help this podcast through ongoing monthly support. As a thank you, we'll give you an on-air shout-out, a thank you card and sticker, plus you'll get ad-free early access to every new episode of Missing Persons, as well as any bonus content.
Your Patreon support also goes directly towards helping the missing, because every dollar that we earn through Patreon will be split with two worthwhile causes that benefit the efforts to bring missing people home: CharlieProject.org and Private Investigations for the Missing. Your Patreon support will really go a long way towards helping. We hope you'll consider supporting the show. Just a reminder, new episodes of Missing Persons drop every other Saturday. If you want to find us on social media, you can search Facebook for Missing Persons Podcast. We're also on Twitter with the handle @missing_pod. And of course, you can always find us on our website, missingpersonspodcast.net. On behalf of Jess Betancourt, This is Mike Morford saying thanks, and we'll see you next time on Missing Persons.
Missing Persons is produced under the name AbJack Entertainment by Mike Morford and Jessica Betancourt. It's hosted by Mike Morford and Jessica Betancourt, with writing and research by Jessica Betancourt and editing by Mike Morford. Be sure to listen every other Saturday for an all-new episode of Missing Persons.